Alright, welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be having a look at a game that was sent to me and played by a good friend of mine, Will Grimison. So he was playing it as the white pieces, and I guess we'll just hop straight into it. So E5, E4 was played, C5, so going for a Sicilian, black played, and then we have knight F3. Knight c6, which is fairly common, I guess. There's e6 as a good option. There's d6, but knight c6 is probably in the top three most likely moves played. And of course, the main line, which is d4. Uh, Pawn takes, knight takes, and then knight f6. We have knight c3, and then immediately going for e5 as black. So black decides to see where this knight goes. If the knight drops back here, black gains a tempo because pretty much what it is four knights, except and the same pawn in the structure in the center. And black is to move first, and also this pawn is centralized, so maybe black has the slight advantage because he can maybe make a break straight away or develop quicker. So obviously knight back here would be very nice for blacks, hence the reason why e5 seems like a nice move. But the move Will played was knight b5, which is main line. And the main idea is to see if he can get knight d6 in, and also just put a little bit of pressure on the c7 square. Knight d6 is really good because after something like knight d6, bishop takes, queen takes. The queen is centralized. It's stopping the king from castling. It's attacking, putting a lot of pressure on these dark squares. And bishop here is coming, bishop development, and it's a really good position for white, and I would say completely winning. So what was played is also a great move. D6, stopping this completely, stopping any ideas because the queen covers it and the bishop covers it as well, and there are only two pieces that can possibly attack it. So the next move was bishop g5, which is another great move. And the main idea behind this is probably to either remove this or keep the pin on this knight and go for knight d5 ideas, trying to swarm the c7 square and also put even more pressure on the piece. So it could even be knight d5 straight away, or it could be bishop takes knight, and say if queen takes back, then you have this move. You're threatening to fork the rook and king, and you're also threatening to take the queen. If pawn takes back, you still have this move, and it's very, very difficult to defend this extremely um, huge attack. So what was played was a really, really bad move, an extremely terrible blunder by black, and bishop e7 was that move. So what this does is it allows Will, playing as the white pieces, to take f6, the knight on f6 with the bishop, and because of this pawn being a vital part of this central position for black, bishop takes cannot work because there are then two pieces attacking the d6 square, and there is only one piece defending. So say if bishop takes, knight can come in with check, and immediately this is a completely winning position for white. Not only is he up a pawn after winning it, but his position is a lot nicer. Wherever the king goes, the knight can jump in, the knight can drop back, the knight can even drop back here or here, the bishop can come in, and there are a lot of ideas that can be had. And the knight can even take here in the future. And this white position is very, very good and probably considered to be completely won. And black is just lost because of how undeveloped he is in comparison to these amazing knights that can hop in straight away. So what we have in the actual game is pawn takes, which makes a lot of sense because otherwise there wouldn't be a defender on this square. And then the idea that was mentioned earlier about trying to set up something like this, because after removing the knight can hop into d5, which is putting pressure on these squares, but also attacking this immediately. And black found a way to try and stop that and try and defend this square, and he decided to play queen a5 check. And then after c3, which is pretty much suggesting that this is a waste of a move, uh, bishop d8. And the only reason why this was played was to defend this really strong attack, forking the rook and the king. However, if we look at the position a little earlier, even something like rook here probably would have ended up as a better option for black to play. It would be still not completely winning after something like this, but it is an idea that is a lot better than something like this, where he ends up having to force his bishop back to d8, and then the knights can come in and start to destroy. So knight takes d6, very obvious move, a wonderful move because it gives check, also makes sure these knights are stopping a lot of positions for the king to go, and also the free pawn in the end. And so king comes to f8, and then a really nice sequence to finish off the game. And this is actually quite funny as well. So the queen is played to h5. The bishop defends checkmate in 1. Queen check on h6. King goes to g8, and then the knight comes to e8 to finish off because there is no way of stopping this checkmate. So if you think about this for a second, the only way of prolonging this is by giving a check, and after pawn takes back, or knight takes back, there is no way of stopping queen g7 for black. So that's a really nice way to finish off a really funny end game. Because the knight is simply on the last rank with three of black's pieces also on the board other than the king on that same file. So it was a very interesting game, very fun, and of course black resigned in this position. So a nice game from Will, very interesting stuff. And one more thing to add as well, if we go back to this position, I mentioned that bishop hero is a very bad move. Probably the best move that could be played as black in this situation is something like a6 because it attacks the knight straight away. And there are no ideas here of now coming in here because the knight has to move away because it's being attacked. So the knight will probably hop back to a3. And it's a fairly even position. I wouldn't say black is winning anymore because of this, or white for that matter. But I would say that the position is definitely a lot better than something like bishop e7. And black can play on quite comfortably, develop his pieces, and then even play bishop e7 now, for instance. And so yeah, so that's something that black could have played but didn't, and white managed to capitalize of this very bad move, bishop e7 straight away, and go for a really nice victory with these super strong knights, and managing to get a knight on e8 to finish off the game. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.